Hi, third graders. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about days 3, 4, and 5 of your math section of week 4 in your distance learning packet. I'm just going to talk you through kind of what you would expect to see, maybe some things you might be confused about to hopefully help you better complete this work. So let's start with day 3 of week 4. It says that this is from Module 5, Lesson 5 of our curriculum. What it would ask you to do in the beginning is just to partition, which also means to divide the shapes into equal parts. So for our first little figure right here, this long rectangle, you would make them into equal thirds to make sure there's 3 equal sections. And then you would complete the rest of the figures, so fourths, eighths, and halves. I would like for you to really read through this new learning section and read all of those little talking bubbles. So it's showing you exactly what to expect when you fill out this chart, and you will be filling out a chart just like this in the page below. It's saying that the fractional unit tells the number of equal parts in the whole. Since there are 6 equal parts, I can whisper 6. So it's going to ask you to fill out an entire chart like this. We can see that there are 6 equal parts. How many parts are shaded? We know there's only 1. And then it asks you, what is the unit form? Now, this is something that a lot of us always ask about. And the unit form is a word, writing the unit as a word. The answer is 1/6 because I'm counting the number of 6 that are shaded. So this is talking about the total amount of parts. So this would be 1/6. And then how do we write that as a fraction? We can write 1/6 for the fraction because 1 equal part is shaded out of a total of 6 equal parts. All right. I would like for you to also pay attention to this second part of the new material. It says draw 2 identical rectangles. Shade 1/5 of one rectangle and 1/8 of the other. Label the unit fraction. Use your rectangles to explain why 1/5 is greater than 1/8. So it says I can draw 2 identical rectangles and partition one into 5ths and other into 8ths. I can shade 1 equal part in each rectangle to show each unit fraction. Notice how the rectangles are the exact same length and size. Now read this explanation. So you know how we used to do rice and the E means explain. This is where you would explain your thinking. So 1/8 is greater than 1/5, is greater than 1/8 because both rectangles have 1 equal part shaded. But when the rectangle is cut into 5 equal parts, the parts are bigger than when the rectangle is cut into 8 equal parts. Think about it as when we talk about candy bars. Remember, if we have 2 candy bars and you're breaking it apart between 5 friends versus breaking one apart for 8 friends, which part is going to be bigger? Be only if you were sharing it with 5 friends. So now it's asking you to apply what you just read about by filling in this chart. So you fill in this chart by answering how many total equal parts are there, how many parts are shaded, what is the unit form, which means with words, and what is our fractional form. Okay, then you're going to read this word problem and explain your answer. I would like for you to also then write the fraction that is shaded for each of these figures. And you may write it as in the fraction form. All right, now I want you to notice this question right here when you read it for number 2 of that problem set. We're still in day 3, is you need to explain, I'm going to read the whole thing, but you're going to explain how these 2 rectangles, why 1/5 is bigger than 1/8. That is a review of one of the examples that was just previously discussed. And then once again, you're going to fill in this chart just like you did in the problems above. Remember, you're going to think about what are your total equal parts, what is the part that is shaded, what is the unit form, which is putting it into a word. This would be 1/2. And what is our fraction form, which would be 1/2. Okay. Now, what we're going to look at right here, it says week 4, day 5. Week 4, day 5. So this is coming from Module 5, Lesson 6. So this is going to be a review of some more fractions. So it's asking us to write the unit fraction in fraction form for each shape. What that means is what is the fraction for each of these pictures. So the first one would be 1/3 or 1/3. The second one would be 1/4 or 1/4. And you would go ahead and write that, all the rest of the fractions for your fluency. Now, when it talks about new learning, they are explaining to you different concepts that we have actually reviewed in class. It's asking you to complete the number sentence and estimate to partition each strip equally, write the unit fraction inside each unit, and then shade the answer. So they're asking you to think about 3/4. We would write that as 3/4. Then you would have to partition this rectangle into 4 equal parts and shade in 3 of them. Read our little voice bubbles, and they will be able to explain to you why we think the way we do. So it says 3/4 is written in unit form. I can complete the number sentence by writing it in fraction form. 4ths are the unit, so I'll do my best to draw lines that partition the strip into 4 equal units or parts. I can label each equal part with the unit fraction 1/4 because each part is one of the 4s, 1/4. I can then shade 3 copies of the unit fraction 1/4 to build 3/4. Okay, part 2 of your learning is then asking you to do some more partitioning. It's asking you, Mr. Stevens buys 8 liters of soda for a party. His guests drink 1 of the 8 liters of soda. So what fraction of the soda do his guests drink? So if we have 8, there's 8 equal parts of his soda, and he only drinks 1 of the liters. How many are left over? What fraction of the soda is left over? It's 7/8 of the soda is left over because his guest only drank 1/8 of the soda. Please continue to read our little speech bubbles here. So let's go ahead and try it on our own. Complete the number sentence. Estimate to partition each strip equally. Write the unit fraction inside each unit and shade the answer. The first is done for you. A and B are partially complete. So our sample shows us that 2/3 is the unit form. We write it as 2/3 for fraction form. We then have 1, 2, 3 equal parts, and they shaded in 2 of the 3 because there are 2/3. Here is our unit form of 3/4. They wrote it as 3/4 for fractions. Now you needed to partition this rectangle into 4ths and shade 3 of them in. You are going to go ahead and complete the rest of our examples here. Follow the example. You guys can do it. I know you can. Okay, and then you're going to go ahead and fill in this chart. Now this is exactly like we talked about previously for the day prior. You have a picture. You're going to tell me how many total equal parts are there. Not just how many are shaded, how many total parts are there. So for part A, there would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There are 9 equal parts. Then it asks you how many are shaded. There are 5 equal parts shaded. So what is our unit fraction? What would one of these be? Our unit fraction would be 1/9. or 1/9. Now, what is the fraction shaded? Take this number from our second column. It would be 5/9. Okay, you will go ahead and complete the rest of your chart. You can always check your answers at the bottom of the page. Now, in our problem set, it's going to ask you to do a mixture of different things that we had just talked about. Complete the number sentence, estimate to partition the strips equally, write the unit fraction inside each unit, and then shade the answer. So 2/5, how would we write that as a fraction? You would write it as 2/5. Now we know that we're talking about fifths, so you need to break this rectangle into 5 equal parts and shade in 2 of them. This number 2 is asking you what fraction of the circle is shaded. Remember, you have to count all of the parts. So there are how many equal parts? There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 total. How many are shaded? There's 1 out of 8, so it's 1/8. What fraction of the circle is not shaded? 7/8 would be your answer. And then complete the chart. At the bottom, make sure you are reviewing exactly the practice that they give you in the problems above, and you will do an amazing job.